Okay. Today is Wednesday, March 25th, 2025. The time is 6 p.m. The meeting of the Northborough Fire Station Building Committee is now called to order. My name is Dawn Rand, and I'm the chairperson of this committee. John Napper, who is sitting at the table, is not a member of the Fire Station Building Committee and is not voting on any matters that the Fire Station Building Committee may vote on, as he is a member of the Financial Planning Committee, and that Chapter 52, Section 15210 prohibits a member of the Financial Planning Committee from serving on another town committee. The Financial Planning Committee has approved him as the liaison to the Fire Station Building Committee. So, first item is the approval of minutes from February 25th, 2026. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Construction update.
So in the last month since we last met, the steel at the apparatus bay has been completed. The roof framing is complete. The decking that makes up the ceiling of the apparatus bay is complete. They have started the infill blocking at the apparatus bay front wall. That just is the block infill above the concrete beam and below the steel framing. They will be mobilizing tomorrow with a crane to start steel on the administration side of the building, wrapping around, as you look at the building, wrapping around the backside, coming around towards the right and to the front. That'll take over the next couple of weeks. Now that the apparatus bay steel is up, the site contractor is going to start with the underground drainage and utilities that go in the, or below the slab of the apparatus bay. The mock-up is essentially complete. There is some flashing on the roof of the mock-up that needs to be completed. The geothermal well drilling has begun. They've hit a couple snags with the amount of rain and snow that we've experienced, so a lot of their effort has been spent dewatering the well field that they've drilled, but they are back up and operational. Let's see, what else? That's essentially it. Before we meet next month, they are looking to pour the concrete slabs in the apparatus bay floor. That'll probably be the next big milestone between now and next month.
Okay. Any questions?
Madam Chair, question. The wells the geo wells, how many have been started? Todd, do you know?
Half a dozen or so?
Out of what's going to be 17?
17,
17
I
and
think it
18?
is 17, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other
So
questions?
mock-up is completed now?
Is complete. The only thing that is outside of some roof flashing, that the detail of that roof flashing is being reworked. The soldier course is going to be redone. The mason has decided to take the soldier course down and reconstruct it. I'm not exactly sure
Yeah, so the detail in the drawings actually doesn't show the stacked bond, it shows them offset, and so they're going to try it the way that we had it in the drawings and see if it resolves that issue with the corners and if we're happy with the way it looks.
So we have an opportunity to take another visit to the site to see the completed mock-up?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, that'd be great.
will let us know and
Yeah.
maybe we can schedule something.
We'll get that soldier course done and the roof flashing on that fascia piece, and then it would look more complete.
And we had chosen a caulk color for around the windows?
I don't think we've chosen that color yet.
Okay.
I'll double check, but I don't think that one's come up yet.
Okay.
That window is getting its water test, it looks like, next week.
Okay.
Just to let you know.
So as far as a site visit, would Wednesdays work for everybody? And which days is best on the site?
Wednesdays.
It really doesn't matter. Just some notices, all that is helpful, but you can pick whatever day you like.
I know you have a lot of meetings on Wednesday, or do you have a lot of meetings every day, so,
Well, Wednesdays don't work for me, but I could come by a separate day.
no, well, we could just make it a different day. What day would work for you?
Fridays work.
Fridays work,
Mondays work often.
Mondays, Fridays? Which would be better?
Tuesdays probably work.
Why don't you see what you can schedule?
Sure.
But Monday and Friday would be
But
preferable.
Wednesdays, just, I'm always in Boston on Wednesdays.
Because you couldn't do the last one.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's see if we can get Diana up. Okay. So takes care of the construction update?
Yes.
Okay. Schedule update, extended work hours, equipment and material staging, discussion, and possible vote.
Schedule update, just to give you an idea of what is happening in the next month. Road work is expected to start on or around April 15th. The road work consists of the drainage plan for the site. That drainage plan includes taking the water off the site through drainage, across Route 20, and through an easement to the west side of Dunkin' Donuts. That work is going to take approximately 2 months of night work. They are limited, the contractor is limited in the hours that they can work at night because of Dunkin' Donuts operating hours and their delivery schedule. So, once it does start on or about April 15th, we're looking at approximately 54 work nights of between 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. Unfortunately, because of the condensed work schedule, that's why we have 54 nights, because they essentially can't work until 6 o'clock the following morning to start their day work. They have to stop 2 hours short every day. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. The drainage work starting on April 14th is because that is when the DOT allows you to work back in the street as of the spring. It also includes the drainage coming out off of the site. So it's kind of, during the day, they would be working on drainage on our site. At night, they will be working on the drainage tie-in that goes through Route 20.
Questions?
Question, Madam Chair, for Todd. Currently, you've got I think it's a concrete tank on the westernmost corner of the property, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where we're going to go across the road from?
So it actually is in the street, just outside the sidewalk.
Okay,
Then it goes the rest of the way through the easement into the brook on the backside of Dunkin' Donuts.
Old Harbor, okay.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
So regarding the schedule, we haven't had a thorough review since prior to the winter. And I know we've had some slippage due to the winter.
Mhm.
We were hoping soon we could get a revisit. And what areas we've lost time
Mhm.
and where we can make it up potentially. Because last time you said we were 30 to 40 days behind,
Right,
but we hadn't identified where we might gain some time.
correct.
And I'm assuming getting the apparatus bay done on the left side frees up some space that's dry and protected where you can start fabricating ductwork and interior components.
Correct, that's the hope, is once there's a slab over top of all that underground drainage, that you now have a space to work
And that's part of the
interior-wise.
strategy to gain some time,
Correct,
okay?
yeah. That is what, originally it would have been the administration side of the building moving east. Instead, they opted to start on the east and work west for that
Okay.
reason.
Now, are we currently approximately 40 days out still?
We are still looking at mid-December, although we expect a narrative. The GC thought they would have that to us last week. We expect to get that in the next couple weeks, which will spark our review of that schedule and delay, and then we can formally request a recovery schedule.
Might we see that at our next meeting?
You'll definitely see it at the next meeting.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else? Next.
Unrelated to that, how about the design of the retaining wall? We've been waiting for approval drawings for a while, and where does that stand?
The latest submittal is right now with the engineers, and they're looking at it, so it should be returned within the next week or so.
So we might be able to see that at our next meeting as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
included in that submittal was the drainage for the wall, which ties into the drainage structures, the detention basins. It's all kind of wraps together. And then you have a fence on top of the wall that impacts the design of the wall. So a lot of this, once you have the drainage ironed out, now you have the wall to design and the fence to consider. So there's a lot that's been going back and forth in order to get a complete package instead of pieces.
Next.
What was next? Financials?
Equipment and material staging.
So the contractor has asked us to ask you, the committee, for consideration of opening the site during the night work. The 54 nights of night work are under the assumption that they can still use the construction site to stage their equipment and their materials. Otherwise, they will be mobilizing and demobilizing every evening and every morning. Which includes taking all the equipment off-site somewhere. All of that drainage structures will have to find a new location if they cannot get into the construction site during the overnight hours.
Will there be noise associated with that?
The noise associated with that would be typical site work construction, backup alarms. They'll have to scoop structural fill, things like that, that they can't have out into the street. But it is essentially, the site would become their laydown area for the Route 20 drainage work.
Would you be adding night lighting?
Yes, there are 3 light stations as part of the PCO for that night work.
Would that lighting, would the throw be contained within the site?
Yes, yeah.
How does everyone feel? I mean, it sounds like it makes sense if we can do it, because it'll save time.
Not only will it save time, but the proposed change order that we have for you tonight will increase if they have to remobilize each and every day for 54 days.
Madam Chair, question for Todd.
Yeah.
If they stage their equipment on site, will it reduce any of this 2-month?
No, this 2-month is based on that.
Based on that?
On that assumption that they could use the site.
Okay.
Will it possibly reduce any of the 40-day schedule slide? Just because the site would be active? Any other work? being
Essentially
done?
be 24 hours a day active, yeah. It doesn't seem that that's the case.
Okay.
Now, has anyone checked to make sure that we can do this?
Do you have to consult with the planning board for extending hours?
I believe that's why we're coming to you first,
I see.
for that next permission. And how does the committee go about presenting that in front of the planning board?
It seems like we need to quantify the difference in the change order price also before going before the planning board.
Sure, that's fair.
I would say go before the planning board and see what they say.
I agree.
Is there a motion for that?
I move that we send this to the planning board. Or are you saying we need a motion that we agree with this pending the planning board approval?
I think that would probably be a better motion for us.
Okay. I move that we allow the contractor to stay mobilized overnight during the 54 days of work pending the planning board's approval of that idea.
Can I hear a second?
would second that.
All's in favor? Okay. So how quickly do we get it to the planning board?
I'm not sure their schedule, but I'm sure whatever their next meeting is, we could get it in front of them. I will say that this is kind of pending a mid-April start date.
Neil, will you try to get it scheduled?
Do you happen to know off the top of your head when planning board meets?
No, but I mean, I guess somebody could reach out to Lori.
That should be you.
Yep.
I think it might be April 6th,
Sue Sartori's got all the dates.
not swearing by.
I can certainly get the price difference before the 6th, if that's helpful.
That would be
That'd be
helpful.
very helpful. Okay. Is that the end of what you had?
Yes.
Okay. Financial update?
Before I get to the chart, I have two proposed change orders. One formal change order I wanted to present to you, and then a proposed change order that is up for discussion. The first change order is in the amount of $10,233.41. This is for the increased size for a roof hood. It's been going on for the last few months in design, and we finally now have a price. There was a credit issued for the basis of design roof hood, and this is the price difference to increase the size of that roof hood. And I believe, is there some structural involved in this too, to make
You
room?
have my- I don't think so. I think it was just mechanical for this one. Yeah, it's just mechanical and there was an electrical credit. Yeah, because the design drawings showed a tie-in if carbon monoxide levels reached too high, it was going to open up one of the fire doors to help exhaust it. And in lieu of doing that, we increased the size of the exhaust hood so that the doors would stay closed in case of the buildup, and then the exhaust hood would just exhaust the air.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion on the change order?
Make a motion to accept change order PCO 18, is it, for 10,200 and,
This is actually formal change order number 7.
number 7. Very good.
Okay. Do I hear a
Formal
second?
change order number 7
Yeah.
for 10,200 and some change.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion's been made, seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Okay.
And then last month, I believe we brought to your attention the anticipation of a larger change order for the drainage work in the street, in Route 20. That proposed change order has gone through 3 revisions since last we spoke. Revision number 3 finally came out yesterday, which is nearly as accurate as we could get it at this point. It is not a formal change order, as you know, but it is a proposed change order in the amount of, I think it's $896,000 and some change, off the top of my head.
$896,211.11.
This is essentially the premium to do the work at night, in addition to the changes that have been made to the original drainage plan. So the original drainage plan, if you remember, I can just give you a brief overview. We were going to go across Route 20, right out at the apron, out in front of the apparatus bay, and you would have, your drainage would have left the site, gone across Route 20 near the entrance of Dunkin' Donuts. We've now moved the drainage into Route 20. So before it was, the drainage line was going to run east to west on the fire station property under the apron. It is now inside Route 20, on the outside of the sidewalk, but in Route 20, or under the sidewalk along Route 20. There is a detention basin and a manhole to the west corner near Hillside, which then will go across Route 20 and through the drive-through of Dunkin' Donuts and out into the creek. The drainage change, the relocation of the drainage and its structure, and having to do this work at night is what's led to the $896,000 change order.
So could I ask some questions about this change?
Mhm.
So I'm assuming the site engineers consulted with Mass DOT prior to the initial design.
So,
Right.
yeah, just to add to this a little bit and maybe answer some of your questions. PAR and HKT worked with Mass DOT probably for close to a year, I think it was, going through a permitting process to try to figure out how to deal with stormwater on the site. There just wasn't enough room on site to handle all the stormwater. So we were always proposing to Mass DOT to tie into their storm drainage system in the highway. They required a lot of analysis to prove that there was no other alternative to dealing with all the water on the site. And so that's why it took us a year of going through all the analysis, repeat meetings with them to show them the documentation. Just before we went out to bid at the end of this period of time, they said, okay, we agree, you cannot handle all the water on the site. Now, we want you, if you were going to tie into our system, we want you to do an analysis of our system to see that it can handle this water, that it can handle water that's being dumped into it from adjacent properties. And we want you to potentially upgrade our system for whatever length it will take based on the analysis you do. And so we knew that it was going to take months and months more time in order to do that. And it was going to be much more costly in the end to tear up the highway and replace their system. And so right before we went out to bid, we talked about, internally, we talked about alternatives to handle that. And we had meetings with PAR. We also talked with Scott Charpentier about ideas. And we came up with this idea to potentially, to move the drainage, as Todd was saying, and to go across the street and tie into an outfall over in the wetlands. Because we hadn't gone through the permitting process with Mass DOT, we couldn't really put that in the bid documents. And also it was going to require an easement with the Dunkin' Donuts folks. So what we did was put as much into the bid documents, incorporating that concept of a change as possible, but knew that there would eventually be a change order associated with the rest of the work once we got it approved by Mass DOT.
So how much of the stormwater system was included in the original bid?
Everything, well, so it was moving that pipe, as Todd explained, and then sort of to the limit of the site. We didn't want to show anything that went across the street and went into the outfall. And then as we went through the permitting process and went through Concom and all, there were some additional changes that needed to be made on site with the final design.
So you were anticipating a change order to complete the design and the construction of the stormwater system. And is that supposed to be part of the contingency?
I believe you were carrying.
We were carrying, in, it would have come out of contingency, but yes, we were budgeting an amount of money to deal with the Mass DOT requirement.
Mm-hmm.
Some level of it, to answer your question, some level has always been budgeted, yes.
So what was their rationale for shifting the crossing of Route 20 from, it was near the Apparatus Bay Drive, west
That was
towards the, drive-in.
one option that we did present to Mass DOT. I think what came out is that they couldn't get across at that location because of what's already in the road.
There's a,
pre-existing structures.
Right.
there's a lot in the road, and also the concept was to minimize the impact to Dunkin' Donuts as much as possible.
And
The-
all along, they required night shifts for the work on Route 20?
It became a requirement once the permit was issued. They would not allow the work to be done during the day.
Is this standard procedure for Mass DOT when you're working on a state highway, to do it at night?
I'm not entirely sure why they came up with that suggestion in their,
Quite a
as
premium,
part of their,
you know,
yes.
$633,000
We did mention that to them.
for night work.
The
and
DOT,
it's a
we did-
Major disturbance to people that live in the area.
That's correct.
Do we have any recourse?
It, from what I understand, it's not it's,
Non-negotiable?
it being a financial impact is not a reason to not do the work at night, according to the response we received.
In what world do they exist? Wow, okay.
So through the chair, can I just ask, so the original plan the original plan that you thought you were going to do the tie into their system, and then you determined what the cost, what that was, then relocating to the new concept that you guys brainstormed and came up with was great to go around them. What was that cost difference? Like, was your, well, not the number, but that was financially a better option than going with rebuilding their system. That's what the decision was?
That's what we believed.
Yeah.
There was, we
Less.
never were able to quantify that because we would have had to go through so much analysis and so much time in order to figure out how much of their system needed to be upgraded.
So,
But the belief was that it was going to be extensive.
yeah, and which that would have cost money with all the analysis and time and delays, which is money. So really, from like your expertise as, builders and OPM, it was a better idea to go with the drainage system because it probably would have been a better system, a better process, and somewhat cheaper. It's only more expensive because the DOT decided that they wanted to implement a restriction for day work.
Yes.
Does that make sense? You know where I'm going
Yes.
with that?
So we had earmarked, we originally, I think PCO 19, which you have for the 896, originally was in the neighborhood of $500,000 when it came out as PCO 19 version 1. And that did not include night work. It also worked, there was another assumption, and I want to say it was the location of detention basin number 3, which has been moved further west. What came about is the only place to put the manhole was as far west as it is in this potential change order, because it's the only place that you can then get your pipe over the existing work.
We had to,
Otherwise, you run into pitch problems and you can't get to the outfall from anywhere else on Route 20.
right. We had to do some exploratory work to figure out exactly where we could get the pipe to cross without obstructions.
Yeah.
So I can put.
It also includes, it's substantial to work around the existing drainage structures that are already in the street. They have to be held up, you have to dig underneath them. It's quite a bit of work that is required. I can't imagine doing it during the day when traffic is higher, unfortunately.
Now, how antiquated is their system? How old was their system?
I don't know off the top of my head.
It's a
How-
good
how
question. I
old?
don't think we ever got that response. The response that we got was that the amount of just discharge, we would have to increase the size of their system. It's not that it couldn't necessarily, it wasn't equipped to handle it. It wasn't the correct size to handle what was coming off of fire station site.
And would MassDOT then also determine the specification of that new system? I mean, I assume that
And the scope.
our design team would not be able to
Right.
recommend anything specifically. We would just be documenting and paying for it.
Yeah, the scope conversation quickly turned into how far down Route 20 we were going to have to upgrade their system, which is why we didn't pursue it very much, because it was,
Beyond the site limits.
Oh,
yes.
definitely,
to
definitely.
give you an idea, was to go down to the light at Church Street and take a left and go in and go down Church Street and then come into the wetlands over there. That would have shut down all of that, and it would have had to be milled and repaved.
Plus, they didn't know how much it was going to go the other direction as well.
There was really
And-
no way to quantify where it would end.
And that likely would have been night work as well.
It would have been night work, and there was
Way more
unfortunately no way to tell what the condition of what we were tying into would be.
Right.
And where that would stop.
It's kind of like,
So,
okay.
yeah.
So, I mean, just having been involved in the conversations and having communications with DOT from other people that I know that used to work there, Chief Parenti, Scott Charpentier, spent exhausted efforts working with DOT and trying to come up with a solution. Their responses weren't necessarily quick. So there was a lot of things that DOT also looked at that we had to push back on. So it was a difficult process. You know, the fact that we're a municipality doesn't really hold water with them. It is what it is. So this wasn't due to a lack of trying. It was a lot of phone calls to people that know people to find out things and just to fact check, and what it is what it is at the end. I mean, and DOT, they know they hold the cards, so they can say yay or nay. And that's kind of where it ended up being.
Well, it sounds like it's a done decision.
Yeah.
Been going on for a long period of time now.
Yes, it's been,
And I do think the
Frustrating.
team weighed all of the options, and the unfortunate reality is that without DOT's permit, we didn't have these requirements. The permit was issued based on these requirements.
So we wouldn't have the permit to do this at this point in time unless
We wouldn't have known ahead of time, unfortunately.
All right, do I hear any other questions?
Madam Chair, question.
No.
So an alternative was to go all the way down Route 20, make a left on Church, around the gas station, or all the way around the back. And the cost of that would have been, God knows how much.
It was almost, they almost stopped calculating it once the scope got that large.
Obscene. Thank you.
And it still would have been night, so it still would have been more money.
That too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, none of us really want to do this, but
Do you want
I
to talk
hear
about
an
the CCD, though?
Oh, yes. We do have for you a construction change directive because this amount of $896,000 is not set in stone. There are some other things. PAR, for one, is still reviewing this. Revision number 3, this number here, came yesterday. So PAR still has some review to complete. We've done some review each time a revision has come out. But it is not necessarily ready for a formal change order and a vote. Really, I just wanted to bring this to your attention to expect this. In lieu of that, we have a construction change directive that we would like executed by the building committee so that we can provide it to the contractor so they can get started on this work. A big part of this is the site drainage is now is tied into this. So all those detention basins on site need to drain to this system, and we would like to get them ordered so that they can start placing these structures, which the wall sits on top of. It affects a lot of things. So our advice was to issue a construction change directive, give that to the contractor, allows them the ability to order their materials, and they can bill in their next pay requisition for that.
So these structures are wrapping all the way around the building. They go along the side of the apparatus bay, behind the building, down the parking lot, and then in front of the building. These are all the subsurface
There's a total.
stormwater system.
There's a total of 3. There's one up on the back left corner up by Monroe. There's one to the right of in the parking area, to the right of the administration area, and the third one is out into Route 20.
So given given where we needed to cross the road and given where our finished floor elevation is, we only had so much elevation to work with to get the pitch of all the drainage to work. And so it's sort of daisy chained all together. And so they couldn't start ordering all of this until the design was finalized and we could say, okay, we're comfortable with the inlets and the outlets of each of these drainage structures. And so that's what's affecting everything else on site, even things that may not be new or different. It might just affect the inlets and the outlets. So I think the idea of the construction change directive is we're not ready for the committee to sign a change order yet until we finish flushing out the change order and are back and forth with the contractor. But this allows them to start ordering some things while we finish the process of reviewing the change order and settling on an agreeable price.
So does the CCD have a certain value for now?
The way we have worded it is, it says the proposed basis of adjustment to the contract sum or guaranteed maximum price is a lump sum fee which shall be negotiated following the review of proposed change order number 19 by the architect and the owner's representative.
So do I hear a motion for construction change order directive?
Well, we're not voting on the change order, we're voting on a directive so they can proceed with the
Change
work.
directive, yeah.
Yeah,
Construction
okay.
change.
Can I just ask one clarification in discussion? So, because there's been a lot of talk about this. So the bottom line is, this was unforeseen. You couldn't have known this. We didn't know how the DOT was going to react. We didn't know about them trying to make us do different things. Like, these are things that, from a construction standpoint, couldn't have been really determined prior. Is that fair to say?
That's pretty fair to say.
Okay.
I think best case scenario, we would have come to the building committee with a proposed change order for the $500,000 if everything, had worked out. So essentially, you're looking at a roughly $400,000 premium to do it at night.
And really, a lot of it is, and just if people don't know, Route 20 is a state road, so we don't have any control over that road, so it's completely out of our hands. So, okay.
A motion.
I can make the motion that we accept the CCD for, do we put a value on it?
No, just,
CCD for the potential change order 19 that we have tonight is $896,000.
Second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Okay, hopefully it'll come down a little bit.
Or not go up. Either one.
Or not go up, yeah, right. What
Okay.
this does allow, though, is the contractor, what wouldn't change would be the structures. We can negotiate labor throughout this process, but at least the structures can be ordered. There is a lead time associated with those concrete structures, so it does provide them the opportunity to order those and bill them for us, bill us for them.
Can we see a copy of the completed site design with these changes? Because what was submitted for a building permit didn't include any of these details
Yes.
of running it along the easement and then crossing at the
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts driveway.
Yes.
so that design was submitted to the Concom at one point, so it has gone through some permitting and.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
but we
just-
can definitely get that to
It's not listed
you.
in the building permit drawings.
One other question on the CCD, does that include, like police detail funding and whatnot for?
The police detail associated with this work for 54 nights is included in this potential,
Okay.
in this proposed change order.
Right, and because it's a night detail, obviously the rate is a lot
Yeah,
higher and
so-
it's a state road.
And it is broken out. Some nights require 2 police officer details, some nights it includes 1. It just sort of depends where upon Route 20 you are and how close you get to that corner.
So it's not all the construction, it's all the
Oh, yeah.
ancillary things that come
Correct.
with night work that, like you said, to a premium, right?
That's correct.
Some of the things that were changes are in the revision part of PCO 19, which was the second half of that, which has some of the little bullet points, details and things that have been changed.
So,
And besides the details, there's also an increased cost of labor at night, right?
There is.
Okay,
So one thing the PCO 19 doesn't cover is a wetlands specialist that we would have to contract on our own.
It is the responsibility of the owner to obtain the wetland specialist during this process. So when
More to
I'm,
come on that.
when I'm better prepared, I will reach back out to the committee, Scott Charpentier, and figure out what the direction is for that.
Madam Chair, question for Todd. Is that Goddard Consulting? Is that what this
Goddard Consulting is
environmental
probably,
monitoring for drainage work near the wetlands?
is there a number associated with it?
That might be the earlier version, Todd.
Yeah.
We asked them to remove it.
That's
from-
why I'm wondering if there's a number
It was in
associated
the-
with
It
it.
was in the latest packet, is why I'm asking.
Okay. As long as it's now $0, because it is something we asked to remove.
Okay.
This almost looks like an estimate if we were to use Goddard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the site contractor were to use.
That document's from January 29.
Yeah, that's, yes. That's all.
Okay, sorry.
anything else on this?
It's unfortunate, but.
Okay, design updates.
Well, I have finishes to show you, which is what we have in front of you here. So we've been working on putting together some interior finish palettes for your review and selection. We've got 3 different schemes here. We also have a PowerPoint which shows where we're planning on doing some accent paint walls. I think I'm going to go through the materials first, and then we'll go to that, because I think folks at home can't see both what we're presenting here and the PowerPoint at the same time. So I'm going to do my best to come around here and still stay on a mic while I talk to you. So we have 3 different schemes to show you, and we're just calling them, for basis of discussion, A, B, and C. And what you see is some carpet on the floor here. These are carpet tiles. And then the carpet is in offices, it's in the dorm rooms, in the day room, in the training and EOC room on the first floor. We have some porcelain tile, which happens in the lobby and in the toilet rooms as well. And then on the boards here, you see the wood that we are proposing. It's a clear finish maple. That would be the doors. That would be wood paneling in the lobby space. We have some wainscoting in the corridor heading into the training room, and then we have wood base and a wood chair rail in the training room, and those would all be finished in the clear maple, as well as all the cabinetry in the kitchen, in the day room, and in the kitchenettes. That's all the clear maple here. We have some paint colors, which I said we'll talk about on the PowerPoint presentation in a minute. Whoops, we've got things falling off the board. The larger off-white sample is the field color that we're proposing, and then we've got a couple of accent colors I'll show you in the PowerPoint, and then the darker color is what we would plan for things like handrails and guardrails at stairs. We have some linoleum flooring. The corridors are, for the most part in the administration wing, are all linoleum. The linoleum on your right is what we're proposing for the corridors. The one on the left is what we're proposing in the kitchens. So that would be right adjacent to the cabinets. We have some quartz sample. That would be all the countertops. It sits on top of the maple cabinets. And then we have some athletic flooring for the fitness wellness room. And this is a sample for the rubber treads and risers that happen in stairways. We also have, separate from that, some little boards. We were trying to hold these up by each scheme. You want to move that one over there, but they were flipping down as we were talking earlier. So these are for the toilet rooms. We have, as I said, the porcelain tile on the floor, and then we have 4 by 12 ceramic tiles, sort of a subway tile pattern in the lighter color here, and then we've got these glass tiles, which are 1 by 1 glass tiles. We have an accent band that runs all around the toilet rooms that is 4 of these high, so it's 4 inches high of the little 1-inch tiles, and that was just to give a pop of color in each of the bathrooms. And you can see we've got some nice colors for that. And then this is the quartz countertop that would happen in all those. And the reasons we kept these separately is as we have them arranged here, we kind of had the idea that each of these would go with each of the respective schemes, but they could mix and match a little bit, especially these two could be switched around if there's one that you like. We thought those would work for multiple schemes. And then the last couple of boards we have are for the apparatus bays. We have a couple of different options for that. For the apparatus and surrounding spaces. Hold this. This is resinous flooring options for the apparatus bay, where all the trucks are parked. We've used both of these colors in fire stations before. Some departments like to have the red floor, and then some prefer a more neutral color for that. In the decontamination room and the laundry room, we've got some metal cabinets, as well as a quartz countertop that go on top of that. So there are a couple different options for that. So as we were putting the options together, just sort of big picture, we had a few different concepts coming here. This one, you see there's a lot of red highlights in it. We were thinking of something fun that would be representative of the fire department. And so the carpet was something that we showed to the fire department during the design phase. And we were looking for opportunities to bring those red pops of color in other places, like I said, for the tile. And as I show you the PowerPoint, you'll see we've got some little pendant light fixtures where we picked up that color as well. The second scheme, we were looking at more of coming up with some earth tones. There was a lot of talk during the design phase about the health and wellness of the firefighters. And so we were looking at putting together a sort of calming palette of colors that brought to mind those earth tones, the nice, warm, sunny yellow and the green that brings, the ideas of nature and all for really the healing and benefits. And then the last scheme over there, we thought the carpet was a really fun carpet with that bright green stripe of color, and started to look at some of those earth tones as well, and some of those healing colors. There's a pale green accent wall, a sea foam color accent wall, and then we picked up the green tile in the toilet rooms again to pick up the green in the carpet in the scheme. So I think now I could probably show that PowerPoint, if that's okay with you. We'll show where the accent walls are. I think we always encourage people to sort of stand up and interact with the samples too, and really get a sense of what they look like, and feel free to ask us any questions about them. That's not going to stand up.
I want to know if these guys like red or green more.
I like the reds, but
You guys choose.
So,
Reds and greens I can't see, so they all look the same to me.
you can't see red and green?
Well, I can, but I
Not
can
well.
never fly, they told me I can never fly a jet.
thank you. So during the design phase, I think we brought a lot of different samples to the fire department to take a look at the things that we were planning on specifying. I think most of the materials shown here were I think most of them were our basis of design, or definitely were in our list of products that we specified. As you know, we've talked about a lot of times during the design phase that for public bid projects, you have to list 3 different manufacturers for these, for every category of materials. So for example, we had 3 different carpets listed, and this is one of the carpets that we had specified. And then we, once we knew exactly what the contractor was going to submit, we pulled different colorways out to present to you. So I will just quickly go through. So for option A, again, which is this option here, what we were proposing is that sort of taupe color. That'd be my Vanna white here again. So this color here would be shown in, we're showing it here in the training room on all the walls. Again, we have the maple base and the maple chair rail on there. We've got a maple window seat and some maple cabinetry in there up against the taupe. And then we were showing in all of the offices, sort of the wall opposite the windows would be painted an accent color. And we were proposing the yellow tone in all of those locations. So you see we've highlighted it like here, the duty officer, the windows here, the wall opposite is that yellow color. And then the corridor wall here around this central core space, we were proposing be painted the accent color, again, the yellow. So as the public is standing here in the lobby and they're looking through the window, they'd be able to see that accent color behind the administrative assistant here. We're also showing some accent walls in the stairs. You can see here and here and over here. That's the first floor. And then on the second floor, the accent walls, again, we have this corridor wall all around this central core space would be painted the yellow accent color. We have the taupe in the day room, and then we have the yellow behind the lockers in the little locker nooks outside the dorm rooms, and then again, the wall opposite the windows in all of the dorm rooms would get painted that color. All the other walls would just be the white that we're showing here. And then in the day room, we've got these pendant light fixtures over the kitchen island, and we're proposing, we own a custom color for those, and so we're proposing a red color to bring out the red in the carpet. So this is option B that you see here. Similar concept that we just showed. You'd have the yellow color as the wall color in the training room. Again, yellow color in the wall opposite the windows in the different offices. And then that green color would be in the corridor wall, and the green again in the stairs as accent walls. Again, we have the green around that core in the corridor, the yellow in all of the dorm rooms, the yellow behind the lockers. And then here, we were proposing the pendant fixtures be a green color. And the last one for option C, which we have over there, we have one more accent color in there. We've added sort of the sea foam color. And so we have that in the stairs, all the different stairs. And then the yellow in the training room and the offices, and the green around the corridor walls. And on the second floor, again, the sea foam in the stairs, the green around the corridor, the green in the day room, and the yellow around the dormitories, and then the green for the pendant fixtures. And that's it.
So I would hope we'd want to have more attention paid to the entry, where the public most often comes to the building. The entry, the public baths, the meeting room, I think we need a little more design,
So we have wood paneled walls.
okay, in the entry?
Yep.
Okay,
I could show you the details for that, but we have,
are they floor to ceiling
Yep.
or? when-
yep, so in the lobby space, it's floor to ceiling. It's the maple with battens on it. And then as you transition into the corridor between the lobby, I can go back here actually, can't I? I guess here? No. There we go. Okay. So all in the lobby space here, we have floor to ceiling wood paneling with battens. And then in this corridor here, we transition to wainscot. It's the same paneling system, but just wainscot height. And then once you go into the training in EOC, you have the wood chair rail and the wood base. Now, we have a lot of monitors on this wall. I think that we had 4 monitors along this teaching wall, and I think we had 1 or 2 along this wall. I don't remember the exact locations we put them in. So there's a lot because, again, this is going to be used as an emergency operations center, so the fire department has a lot of needs for that. There are a couple of structural columns in here that we've wrapped in that same wood paneling detail, goes floor to ceiling. And then we've got a wood bench up against the windows behind those columns there.
So which of these tiles is in the foyer, in the entrance?
One's on the floor.
Okay,
So that goes in the lobby. It's all in the lobby here. It's in the corridor. It's in the public toilet rooms. And then we transition to carpet in here. And then when you look right here, along this wall, there is the window to talk to the administrator. There's a built-in counter that's made out of quartz, and it's got some cubbies in it for holding forms and everything. There's a built-in bulletin board along there, which is the tack surface sample. This one. Right there. I knew that was going to happen. And then as you look through this window, you'll see the administrator's desk, and we have some little pendant light fixtures. They're very similar to the ones that I just showed you, but we're proposing a silver color for those, which will pick up on some of the hardware that we have around there. And remember, we designed space in the lobby here for the antique apparatus piece as well. And we've got some lighting in the ceiling, some track lighting to highlight that. There's also a spot on the wall here for a display monitor for public notices.
Is that what you had up
Other
on?
questions?
I'm thinking.
so I'm kind of partial to B, because The exterior of the building is the red brick with the buff-colored wainscoting on the outside, and that blends in nicely with the combination of the colors in the carpet and the tile. And certainly, firemen need a calming environment, don't they, Dan?
People in the audience, I don't know if you want to get up for a couple minutes and look.
I like the middle one.
The middle one.
See, it relates very well with the color of the exterior of the outside.
Yeah.
I guess it's a lighter color.
I think you can probably turn off the PowerPoint at this point so people at home can see.
But I'm not sure.
Dan,
One from column A, one from column B.
Now,
Wait, there is.
in order to start the process,
understand,
you'd
yeah.
like us to make a decision tonight.
I do.
You know, my eye is drawn to the darker blue, but I understand the need
Dan,
for
I'd like the decision tonight.
calming environment, so,
I think,
Probably middle-
yeah, we need
middle
you
of the
to
road.
vote on a scheme, A, B, or C.
yeah.
And if you're happy with what we've shown for the toilet rooms associated with that scheme, we can go with that. And then we need you to vote on a scheme for the apparatus areas.
And I can't say I dislike any of them.
red.
I think
Okay, so we do have an opinion on the apparatus floor, which is red. But that doesn't mean the rest of the palette has to be red.
Right,
Especially like, you know,
correct.
the floor is totally separate for the apparatus, right? The floor is totally separate for the apparatus, right?
Well, that,
Yeah,
it all depends. but I don't
that
know. I
one.
would
the
go
red,
with
yeah.
Unless there was,
Only it touches
gray with the red.
Amy?
linoleum only, I think, at the transition from corridor to apparatus bay.
Okay. All right, Dan really likes the red for the apparatus floor. Can we agree on the red for the apparatus floor?
No difference in price between the red and the gray?
Okay.
This is all,
All of this is in the contract, yep.
Let me ask you about the floor. So is there a difference if we did gray? and
I'd like to
then
seal
with truck traffic?
I'm sorry, say that one more
Is there a
time?
difference where, you know, if you did the apparatus floor gray, but where the trucks bays are red? You know how you see that?
So what we do own, I believe, is a stripe, a backup stripe.
Okay, so it is.
What is a backup stripe?
So it's so that
go
when the.
go here.
You could probably explain it better than I can.
It's to help back up, so when you back up,
Okay.
there's a line you
They
can
have
follow.
arrows too?
We don't have arrows, but. Like, that's a backup stripe, right there.
So if the
And there's
floor
one
was
on
red, then the backup stripe's a different color. I
You
assume.
line your
we
tires
could-
up with the striping.
So when they're looking in their rearview mirror, they can keep the truck going straight.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't know, it's
But
probably
he
a paint.
doesn't appear to like
Because you've seen some where,
Safety perspective,
you know,
if you're backing up
this
or you're walking around in
will be
there,
red,
you want to make sure that
and, you know, the
Catches
red,
your
like,
eye.
it's a gray.
Oh,
and
I
then
see
you
what
have
you're
the
saying, the
red-
whole thing?
Yeah, the red,
whole-
like, two lines, like, I don't know if that's a different
And
price.
your
It might-
staff
Yeah, I
I can't
discuss
guarantee that, yeah.
these finishes?
I mean, if it's,
They don't get a say?
That,
Okay.
I would like them. They have to make a decision tonight.
I think
gray's
the-
brighter. Gray's brighter on the floor, so it's a little bit more light on it.
That's true.
You need a decision tonight because Dan says that the staff, firefighters, have not had a chance to see this,
Okay,
and they are going to be living there.
yep. So we need a decision soon, because this is holding up a lot of submittals. Janet just reminded me, we have two examples of fire stations, one that's got a red floor and one that's got a gray floor. If you wanted to see, the Tewksbury Fire Station has a red floor, and the Ashland Public Safety Building, there's a gray floor. So you could see the differences in person if you wanted to. I know the contractor is very eager for us to release the wood doors. So if you're comfortable with the clear finish on maple, I can release that. we're showing that in all three schemes. And I'd be happy to come to the fire station and present this as soon as possible. I guess the question is, would we then have to come back to the next building committee meeting, or?
I think we can probably make it's a red or gray, so I think,
Well, you have these three
Yeah.
palettes to choose.
oh, yeah.
I think personally, we make a decision and bring it back to the firefighters. And I can't see any of the firefighters being that dug in on colors.
Not as much as Dan.
I know, I know if it was my husband, he can't even care about colors,
Yeah,
so
I think they'll just be happy with whatever.
they'll be happy with new and pretty and big enough and safe.
Can I just ask on for the wellness room,
Take it,
is it like a package, or can you use the darker color in there? Like if,
You talking about A?
Sorry, which one are you
Yeah, like
thinking?
A
Like the A
exercise room?
floor?
yeah, can
With
you,
one of the others?
yeah, can you, like, can you mix that up or
We
whatever?
definitely-
I mean, whatever they decide, but that's the only one that I can foresee being beat up, so. Yeah, I mean, because it's going to be in a different kind of room. There's a lot of glass in that room, so. I don't know. I mean, these are the architects people, so.
I like A and B.
Me too. I'm not interested in C.
I only base that on durability and people in there beating up, doing push-ups and all that kind of stuff.
So if I were to bring this back, A and B, gray and red, and get it to you by next Wednesday, would that be quick enough for you?
That would be great. I think,
If we,
If we can all agree that we don't like C,
and that if the firefighters want to pick between A and B, I would be fine with
and
that.
that cuts
Yeah.
it down to 2.
I mean,
And the
they're the ones
doors are
that
the
are gonna live
same,
there.
correct?
that,
The
yes.
doors are all, so,
Yeah,
You can release the doors.
could release the
Yeah.
doors.
So
And then
is there a motion to
Did you have a question?
choose A and B and present it to the fire station members, the firefighters, and whichever package they decide on, we're comfortable with?
I move that we let the firefighters choose between options A and B and the associated bathroom options that go with each of those. Right?
Oh, yeah. Which one of those do
They
you
can
guys
mix
like?
and match those too if they want to.
So there's just one thing. So to Tom's point about the exterior colors, I just want to remind everyone that we do have green windows and that the green frames will be visible inside the building.
All the more reason to choose B.
That's another.
how much of Christmas do you want?
reason to choose B?
I can be happy with either one.
I really could.
Yep.
Will
So-
it match? I can't see it in my head. You can.
We weren't sure how you would, and these never touch, but the concept of the red and green together, how you would feel about that.
Pretty classic combo, really.
All right. So Diana made a motion. Do I have a
I'll second Diana's motion.
All those in favor?
A and B it is.
So Dan, it's up to you to
so
bring it
when
in.
we meet Wednesday, I will have an answer for you. Does that work? Is this?
Yeah,
I could take
I
these
mean, maybe we
samples?
talk after, because
Okay.
I'm wondering if we should try to find a time to bring them to you guys.
Okay.
I think it would be easier for us to answer any questions that they might have, too.
And especially if there's any mixing and matching, the people say, gee, I really like this, but
Mm.
could we do that? I think we're best equipped to help you through that.
Okay.
Typically,
Cafeteria menu.
yeah,
Yeah.
So that's the end of design update. We've got a mission for Dan to bring it to you.
Okay.
All set? Okay. Public comment. Do we have any public comment? Sue Sartori.
Hi, my name is Susan Sartori, 465 Green Street. I'm really here to say something to your architects. I was so hesitant about, it was going to be over-imposing in driving downtown. It fits in beautifully. What a beautiful job you did. The roof line is right there with the next door, with the bank and everything. I'm so proud of the building that you put together. And now I go down to the center of town and take a right to go on my shopping spree because I like to look at it every day. It's very well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Anyone else? Okay, no further public comment. Any other business to come before the board? The only thing I'd like to mention, Wednesdays are tough for you to be here at 6 o'clock, right?
Not forever, not forever, just,
Should we change it out to 6:30? Would that make it more convenient for you?
that would be nice. Although this particular series of meetings will probably die out in May. So
I mean, I don't know how anybody else feels, but having a quorum is important.
6:30 would be helpful, if people don't mind.
So it would be,
I don't have a problem.
and we
with
can
that.
always go back to 6 when you're,
Yeah,
so, is that okay for you?
Yeah, I can do
We'll
that.
try to keep them short. Okay, so let's make our next meeting at 6:30, and the future meeting date?
yeah, that's the next question, because I'm going to be out of town the second half of April.
I'm not going to be here on April 22nd either,
Then we won't have a quorum,
because that's the week before town meeting, right?
I will not be here either.
so, yeah.
So can we go a week
Sorry.
later? No, the next week is the week of the town meeting, right? Yeah. You want to go a week later or a week earlier? What would be better for you? All of you, yeah. If we went a week later, or, because we're not going to get a quorum, that's school vacation week, and some of us will not be in there.
So I can't do the 15th.
You can't do the
I have a
15th,
conflict, yeah.
doing your taxes? Okay. You can't do the 15th either? So do we,
29th?
29?
well,
Town
I'm just saying town meeting week,
town meeting.
Oh, I see.
so I'm not sure on that.
Likely will collide with that.
I don't believe we'll be done in 3 nights.
I have positivity.
Yeah, I'm positive we won't be done in 3 nights.
right through.
I mean, that would be 2 nights. We'd have to be done in 2 nights.
Oh, okay.
Three's maybe a possibility, but 2, no. I don't think, but. So,
First week in May, Madam Chair.
is it going to be bad if we wait till May?
I don't think so. But I would love to have a walkthrough before that. So if you'd
Okay.
like to schedule your walkthrough mid to late April,
Yeah, if we just avoid that week of, the one that's got April 22nd in it,
yeah, I agree.
okay? And then we can
We're
work
also out of
around.
town, so it's good if we move that.
All right, so any other Wednesday or whatever?
Yeah.
Or Monday, Friday, or,
I'm out of town the 15th to the 25th, so,
Of April?
yeah. I mean, if you guys want to schedule a walkthrough during that time, I can come by another time.
May 6th is a Wednesday, Madam Chair.
yeah, so our next meeting, May 6th at 6:30?
May
That works
6th.
for everybody?
Yep.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, I have
Oh.
one other financial piece to bring before the committee. We have the HKT FF&E furniture, fixtures, and equipment services that they still need to provide to the project. These services were removed from their proposal back before bidding in order to accommodate what was left in the budget at the time of construction documents and heading into bidding. So we need to pull their services back into the project.
Would you like to explain what these services do? I think there's a misconception out there.
Absolutely. Amy, would you like to?
Sure. So this is to help you with the procurement of the furniture for the project. So during the design phase, when we did the programming with the fire department, we talked about what was going to happen in each room. We planned a general layout for the furniture so that we made sure that all of the power and the data was in the right location based on what was going to be going in the room. But they need to procure new furniture. So this is helping them through that process. So typically, we work with them, we look at the drawings that we did previously, make sure that what we were proposing for furniture in each space is what they actually need. And then we identify some different vendors that are on the state contract bid list, which is something the state puts together. It's competitively bid with competitively priced products on it, so that you don't have to go through a bid process yourselves. And then we go and we tour some different showrooms. We choose the furniture that you want. We work with you to make sure that we get finishes, that the fabrics for an upholstery for the chairs, paint finishes for any desks, help them get the beds that they need, the mattresses they need, all of that. And oversee the procurement process, and then oversee the installation process, do a punch list to make sure that it's all there, that it's all in working order. So that's what the services would be.
Okay, so.
That
you're
was the
gonna-
total of $30,450?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we discussed this last meeting.
We did, but there seems to be questions that have cropped up since then. So I just wanted to make it clear, it should have been clear before, but what it is for. So,
So are we voting to approve
um,
the funds?
do you need the funding now?
We would need the approval, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're already have you started the scope?
We haven't.
But you need to if they're going to move in at the end of the year.
Yes, yes, because some of the furniture can take 12 to 16 weeks by the time you order it to actually get it. And so we have to go through that process that we just discussed leading up to it. So, yeah, it may seem early, but it's not really.
And some of it you have to coordinate, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we return the $30,450.
I understand this public comment, I believe, was closed. Or is it open?
Well, we had closed it.
You move to any other business, Madam Chair.
Yeah, we can do it under any other business, but
What is the hourly, what's the hourly rate for that?
Well, we have different people in our office working on different tasks with that. I'd have to look and see.
I guess, Jonathan Ray, 3 Ave. I'm uncomfortable with that price, not understanding the amount of hours. I would expect that to be part of the services provided, so I guess I'm a little surprised to see $30,000 to help select furniture and layout.
So this was in our original contract, as we said, when we initially got the project and we negotiated our contract, we included this in the contract. When the town decided that they wanted to add geothermal wells to the project, that was before they went to town meeting asking for the additional funds for the rest of the project. And they didn't have enough money left in the budget in order to contract with a geothermal engineer. So we took certain tasks out of our contract so that they could basically make the numbers work on the books, and they could contract with a geothermal engineer. And then the idea was that they would add those services back later on. So this was part of our original contract negotiation.
I guess I'm surprised with the contingency fund, we wouldn't just reduce the contingency fund by $30,000, get to the same number, and not be disclosed for the went to town vote.
I'm not
That
sure I
was
under-
discussed, actually. I mean, Colliers brought that, they explained that we were taking some things out of the original budget in order to get to a certain number for town meeting. And I believe that was discussed. I'll also just add, FF&E, the services that we're talking about right now, are not basic services for architectural scope and are often done by a separate consultant than the architects themselves. They happen to have that service in-house, so it's often a separate service that's not done. So if you look at AIA contracts, FF&E is not ever basic services.
And again, how many hours for $30,000?
I would have to go back and look at the calculations that we did. As I said, we put this together when we first got the project in 2023, I think it was. So I don't know off the top of my head what the calculations were.
Is there, can we see what the calculations were and make sure that they're reasonable? Is there, I mean, we're asking for, is this a change order we're asking for?
It's a
We're
design
restoring
change
a
order.
total that was in the original contract, that was temporarily set aside. Now we're bringing it back into the contract.
Is that a change order?
No,
It's not. Just $30,000 of incremental cost that,
it's part of the original contract.
yeah.
Services. It was removed temporarily for financial bookkeeping reasons. Now we're putting it back in.
And if it-
And I believe it was budgeted all along because we knew this exercise was going to happen. Is that correct? Yeah.
The budget did not change.
Okay, Susie Sislika, a retired attorney. So you took it out of the original contract to bring it to vote, basically, because you were substituting the geothermal, which I've sat through a lot of these meetings. I've watched them online. I've come to the public interest. I had no idea that we did a switcheroo for the geothermal services. But now we're restoring, and I'm not talking to you guys, this seems like something that you guys might do all the time. But I didn't realize that we did this, right, as a town person. So we're restoring our original contract. I've never heard of this. I'm a real estate attorney. I will disclose ZBA for anyone watching. ZBA member, not speaking on behalf of the ZBA. I have to say that. But I've never heard of we're restoring the original contract because we took out a clause to add in different services for the geothermal stuff, but we're not so we're restoring those services in the cost. So was that an addendum? Like,
Yes.
so it was an addendum?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll talk to
We
you guys for
we
this part.
subtracted this from our contract. We
So is it-
we wrote a letter
Yeah.
saying that we were crediting that back to the town, and we
Okay.
removed that from our contract. with
So
the
it's gonna be like a
understanding We were going
new-
to add this now back into our contract.
So it's gonna be like a new addendum to the contract? Because
So
we're
we-
not, you can't restore a contract.
No, no, it's
Is
an
it-
addendum.
For
So
a
there's a,
contract, you need
think
an
you need to
offer,
listen to an
an
answer.
acceptance, and consideration. This is like contract law 101.
so it's a contract amendment. So
Yeah.
we wrote an amendment during the design phase to give a credit to the town and take those requirements out of our contract. Say we were no longer responsible for FF&E.
Because we
And now
wanted to
we're-
stay at that price
Because we wanted to stay at that price.
to
And
get the votes.
so now-
Not to get the
not to
votes.
get the
votes.
It was because we needed the geothermal consultant. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
We had to have the geothermal consultant in order to get the geothermal design for bid, right? But we had a certain number of funds going into town vote that did include their FF&E scope, right? But
But there was also a certain number of funds that we as town people would have voted for. And if you went over like a certain amount, you would not have had the votes because we had Peasley School coming down the docket. I've got 3 kids in the school district right now. I would not have voted for over what we voted for.
Well,
Like,
we-
I
we
would
aren't
not have
adding to what
because
you
we had
voted for.
Peasley School, like we have another school, Melicans, like I have 2 kids at Melican. Like Melican needs work. I have a kid at Proctor. Proctor's number 3. Like Proctor's crumbling as well.
I totally
Okay?
agree
So
with you.
like,
But we haven't changed the amount that you voted for.
That hasn't changed at all.
but right now, you're saying you need $30,000 more for something that was in the original
Not more than
contract.
you voted
It's not more than you voted for.
So,
But you need $30,000 for a design person. Are you, right?
so we needed that service no matter what. It was just taken out of their contract. The money was always there, so now we're restoring their contract, is what I understand.
I guess the question I think we're trying to get at, so there was $30,000 of cost that you knew you were going to incur, that you chose to take out, and you know you're going to incur it. That is the way it's being presented.
Correct, and I get that too, because I'm sitting here like kind of confused. I'm understanding where you're coming from. So I guess what you want to know, if I understand it, is that $30,000, was that $30,000 included in the vote the town made?
It was in contract number 1.
Right, well, but in the vote number, was that $30,000 in the vote? or is this $30,000 new? I think that's what
Like,
you're
how
trying.
many meetings did we have to watch to know what we were voting for?
But let's just get to
As
the,
well,
the
yeah.
question.
So I
Yeah.
think the question, we could take it by pieces, right?
Yeah,
So if you know you have $30,000 of cost.
Yep.
That you need to incur. And you go to vote, and you're voting on something that you know you have 30,000 costs that you didn't put in it, it seems unusual, and it seems like it's not transparent, and it's,
Oh, yeah.
it becomes very much a credibility conversation. So it's just trying to get my head around that, because in every other situation in my life that I can think of, it would, Neil, you hear what I'm saying?
yeah, I go exactly what you're saying. So I guess the question is, and, you know, so that $30,000 was included in what the town voted for, correct? This isn't a new $30,000. It was in there the whole time. It's just being
Restored to the contract.
restored to where, so basically it was over here, it was available but not assigned. And now it's being assigned, is that?
I think
So
it was
Todd,
assigned in the budget. I
Well,
think
yeah, we
I
would call it
distinctly
planned but not
remember, though,
contracted, but
Tim explained, he was sitting right there, the fact, and maybe this is my understanding, again, correct me if I'm wrong, was it that we'd already established the amount that was going for town vote, and then there was a need for the geothermal consultant, correct? So we couldn't change that number that was going to town vote. But we also, in order to move forward on the geothermal design and therefore pursue the geothermal credits, which allowed us to move forward with an energy design that did save the town $1 million in grant funding, we needed that consultant in order to advance the design with that. So as Collier's explained it, again, correct me if I'm wrong, in order to hire that consultant and stay within the amount of money that we had to get through that phase with money that would be approved, that means we had a budget. We had a certain amount of money that we were working with at that point. So we needed the geothermal consultant. So that was the way that it was proposed that we hire the geothermal consultant, was to say, okay, we need these services right now, but we can take these other services that we don't need right now and postpone them until we have an approved project.
If I understand you correctly, and I'm filling in gaps to make sure I understand it correctly, so just say you're off track. Is it a timing issue where by the time we had the final number to town vote, we had new information where we needed to go and find $30,000 for the geothermal piece of it? And is it a timing, or do we know this the whole time and just chose to take $30,000?
I think maybe the confusion is that this was the money that they had to work with prior to town meeting.
But
They
I don't-
only had
yeah.
so much money prior, and just by Massachusetts general law, they can't commit to contracts beyond what they had in hand. So I don't remember the numbers, but say they had $2 million, and that they had committed right up to that $2 million, including our budget for furniture and fixtures and equipment. And then suddenly we said, if you want to go to geothermal wells, then you've got to hire a geothermal engineer, and it's
Okay.
going to cost you $100,000. And that has to be done before town meeting, and you still only have this $2 million. We had to take things out of our contract that we knew we weren't going to need to do until after town meeting happened. So that's what we did. There was one item that we had in our contract that the way the project worked out, we were never going to need. And so we credited them with that. And then we took the bidding phase out of our contract because bidding wasn't going to happen until after town meeting. And we took the furniture out because that wouldn't happen until after town meeting. So it lowered our contract amount enough that they could hire the geothermal engineer. And then once the project got approved at town meeting, we budgeted knowing that we were going to have to add these two things back. And so that budget number that went to town meeting included those dollars. But now they have to go through the process of adding them back into our contract. Because right now our contract says, our first contract says that we do FF&E and that we do bidding. And then we have an amendment that says, no, you don't do those, and we subtract those from your contract amount. And now we need to add them back in. Does that make sense?
The confusing aspect is, and one of the criticism of this project, it was done without a budget. And I think, why not just throw it on with everything else? I think that's the citizen confusion of the budget. And if you look back in meetings, there's been comments of, you never gave us a budget. So like, for me, it just seems like just keep on adding to this number. So under the shell game, it's not, I'm using just loose terms, it doesn't feel very transparent. And so that's confusing. And I would say, is there anything else in this project that we chose not to present at town meeting that we know we need, that has a cost associated with, that we don't know about? Because to me, this is a very big surprise, and again, $30,000 to help with like design when you got CAD and everything else seems like a very high cost. I know there's a whole bunch of complexity behind that. So putting out to bid even seems like maybe an appropriate thing to do. So my perspective is just that. It's one in which it doesn't fit. And I guess for the committee, the question for the committee is there anything else that you chose not to bring to town meeting that you knew was a cost that you were going to incur that you're going to bring forward from today forward?
It's absurd. It's absurd that we know future costs.
I just heard you did. I heard.
This is not,
Okay.
this is part of the original contract.
No, but I'm saying right now, I'm hearing we deliberately chose not. One second.
I'm going to stop right here, okay? We don't have two people talking to us at
Understood.
once.
Understood.
Okay? That doesn't happen in your meetings or your meetings.
Agreed.
So one person is speaking, the other person is waiting behind, okay? And we'll take a couple more minutes of comments because we're not getting anywhere.
Well,
They have explained to you, in my mind, we don't know if the other things may come up. But this is one of the things that we knew. There were two things, I think, that were taken out of the architect's fees before it went to town meeting, so that we could come in knowledgeable enough about the geothermal and have the engineer and have the proper amount of money budgeted for it. We had no idea what we were doing with geothermal. I particularly didn't even vote for geothermal, but it came through, and it's going to save us money, we hope, and it saves us money in the design, maybe in the long run, so, with all the grants and whatever. So I think we've explained, the architect has explained what happened. I personally can't remember anything else that came out of anybody's contract. These were two items that we knew came out, and they were put back to make them whole. So, but
what's the other item? I heard $30,000 for furniture
It
design,
was
and
the bidding phase,
how much
because
was that?
I don't recall off the top of my
Roughly
head, that was
A
part of,
dollar, $10?
I honestly
$1
don't know.
million.
So, again, because
Okay.
we knew we weren't going to go to bid until after town meeting, we took that out. And it was put in the budget, accounted for, so that in the budget that was presented at town meeting, these items were accounted for.
these items were in the budget at town meeting.
were.
So,
I think it's completely reasonable to ask this question. So I think it's a very reasonable question to ask. And again, I'm going to ask again, if there's anything else that we know of a cost that is not in the current budget that wasn't presented at town meeting.
But these were presented at town meeting.
I think there's just confusion, so Jonathan, just real quick, is that, we'll just take it, 41 million was voted to be approved.
Correct.
This committee cannot spend over that $41 million. This money that's in there was in that original $41 million. It just didn't have a name attached to it, but they knew they needed the money. So it was in the bank, and then it was going to move to where it needs. So there is trust, I don't think that there was no shell game. There was nothing that, oh, well, as far as I know from, the finance part was, there was nothing that, oh, we'll hide this over here and we'll add it back in so we can spend more money, because we can't. Like, it's 41 and that's it. So if we had done that, we'd be $30,000 under budget.
And
Or over budget,
I'll leave my
excuse me.
point here. I think it's not a very transparent way to do things. And I'll just leave my point at that.
Everything has been
made your point.
discussed
Thank you.
in this open forum. It's recorded. All these addendums, all the shuffling of monies to accommodate the geothermal has been on a public forum. It's taped. There's nothing that hasn't been transparent. So I don't see any.
I just want to say, as someone who watches at home sometimes, because I do have 3 kids, summertime is baseball time for us. So I have to watch recordings. some of the meetings didn't have sound last summer. I couldn't watch all the meetings. There were some meetings where things didn't work. So technology is not always perfect. But like tonight with the change order and the digging, like I totally understand that. There's old pipes. It's Main Street. Totally get that. We worked on, the ZBA had a case for right over there with the apartment house that's going to be going up, or the redoing of the old computer shop. Like, I understand that. That's conservation land, the easement. I get all that. So the price tag, little shocking about the price tag. I get that too. But, you know, I understand about the unforeseen things, like the pipes, the holding up of the pipes. Get all that. But it's our money. You have to explain things a little better. Like, we don't understand, and you can't be mad when people are asking questions. That was something else I have wanted to say, and I'm not going to get in the online circus that's been going on either. There's an online circus. I'm not even in the group, but I see screenshots. Not getting in on the online circus, but I just wanted to say, can't get mad when people are asking questions about our money. It's our money. It's our, we're the taxpayers. It's our money. We want to ask questions. So you can't get angry, heated when people want to know. But thank you. Thank you for taking the time to explain it clear.
I will
say-
agree. Oh, sorry. Diane, go
I
ahead.
just want to say one more thing. The comment about there was not a budget. I'm an architect, like these architects, who works in public design and construction. The way that the state mandates design projects is not set up for projects to have a budget. If you do a school, like Peasley Elementary School, you are, as a designer, directed to find out what the needs of the users are, and then that is costed. There's not a budget at the beginning. So when Peasley goes through this, the town needs to understand there are going to be options that are presented and prices associated with those options. They're going to program those schools. They're going to work with the district on what the district needs. And that's going to be what drives the costs that come back. There'll be discussions about, are there things that they can, take out of the projects? But they have to follow the MSBA requirements, right? And that's true for a lot of public things. And so on this project, we've done what is needed at the fire station. What's the standard of design for a fire station in Massachusetts, right? So it's really tricky. I understand everybody wants to start with a budget and work to that, but that's not really how public design works in Massachusetts. So we have a challenge being on a committee. The OPM has a challenge. The designers have a challenge because there's not a perfect number that we were working from on day one.
Sue?
Susan Sartori, 465 Green Street. First of all, thank you for allowing the questions. Thank you for answering the questions. Thank you for asking the questions. I think tonight proved that we can, as a community, ask each other things, talk it out, and hear really reasonable answers and explanations. And we may hear more of this. I did watch the meetings over the summer. I knew this was coming. I understood it. But I understand that not everybody is going to understand. I care that they care enough to want to understand. And I think that's fine. So I think it's really about how we pose the questions and how we answer the questions. And I hope everybody will be happy and move forward with reinstating this design phase for the building. It's going to be beautiful, but to move into something takes a lot of planning. I have a daughter that is a designer. It's a lot of money to bring people in to do that kind of work. So I thank you all for the dialogue that you've had tonight. I think it was very healthy. And Neil, you've certainly shown that you could do a great job. Thank you.
So this brings us back to the amount, and if we should expend it tonight, or should we wait until the next meeting because it wasn't on the agenda?
I'm
Oh,
fine
that's
voting
putting us,
today.
okay, because otherwise we're into May, and that's a time restriction for you, so.
So I propose that we reinstate the $30,450 for FF&E for HKT.
as was promised back when.
I second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Okay. All right, that brings us to adjourning.
Okay.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Okay.
7:35.